briefly, you guys all read the case, right?
Uh-huh.
So we got Mary Griffin. She's the vice president of consumer products. And one of the directors below her comes in and starts talking to her about the brand manager, Simon York. And the director feels like Simon's been handling some situations not in the best way. And so it's just kind of talking about York's background and how successful of an employee he is, and kind of leaves it open-ended to what Griffin should do and how she should handle it, right?
Yep.
So, what do you believe the culture at Derby Foods is, and how does that apply to the issue that's going on here?
Culture.
Well, I could see two different things actually. Like for him to be able to approach the vice president over something, I thought takes guts. I don't know. But then I also think of why does he have to go that high to get this resolved?
Okay.
Like I don't know. Was this guy? I can't remember. Was he? What was his position? Was he over production?
Yeah, he was director of production.
So would his direct report be this Mary?
It may be. I mean,
so he did.
It may or may not
the,
be so.
He did follow like the chain of command type of thing.
I would think so. It sounded like Griffin knew who he was and, knew that if he was coming to her, there's going to be a problem, kind of thing.
Okay. So with Griffin, she's probably the direct report over both of them. Then
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out if the brand manager would be right underneath Mary Griffin, or if the brand manager would be underneath this John Shelburne, the director. And so, either way, I think she's at the top of them both, but not quite sure what the chain of command is.
She's definitely over both of them, but it seems like the culture is there's not really clearly defined boundaries, because I mean this guy's going on the product floor and yelling at people. I don't know if maybe that's normal for brand managers to go on the product floor, but I don't know.
I feel like he goes to a different department and tells them how they should be doing stuff or things they're doing wrong.
Right.
I think, instead of going to maybe whoever's in charge of that team.
Right. So he kind of undercut his management.
That they're not all on the same page. Like if they have team meetings, they're not discussing these things and then taking it back to their teams. It's just free for all, kind of.
Yeah, I think on the same page as that. I think the culture is a little bit like you do what you need to do to get the job done. But if you have that kind of culture, then there's that miscommunication, that disconnect where you're not doing things the way or as good as this person thinks you should be doing it. And so that's what causes a lot of the issues with Simon York.
I think it loses respect and trust.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the politics that are at play here in this business? How do you think that affects culture? I think so much of moving up the chain is a lot of politics. And so, like right here, Simon York, he was just recently promoted to be the brand manager. And when he was the lower guy in the chain, you know, he was doing everything he could to help them, to get these people to like him and stuff like that. But then it kind of seems like as soon as he got what he wanted, he started initiating what he thought was right. And so, you know, because of the politics that are at play here, it kind of messes with how he feels like he should be running the business. You know, he can have that change just like that.
Yeah. I don't know the difference between like the politics and the culture, I guess.
I guess politics is just like the interactions and the the games that are played among the corporation to try to better themselves, right? Versus the culture where how the business is run and the environment, what it feels like there.
I felt like Simon was just trying to always show everybody how great he is.
Uh-huh. Which goes into what you were saying before, you know, creates that distrust and that those issues that could be present in a company with has this kind of open culture.
Yeah.
What do you think Mary how do you think Mary can affect what's going on with this company? How can she affect the culture that's present currently?
I think she has a power to do something with it right now. If she lets it get out of hand, I think it will propagate to other people. If she lets it be as is, I think that the culture will kind of go downhill from there.
Uh-huh.
Because it seems beforehand, culture was somewhat conducive to like a good working environment, really. Doesn't give us a whole lot of information, so I really can't say for sure, but it seems like it's gone downhill since he started its management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she has the opportunity to
Right.
like nip this in the bud and get it back on track.
Right.
Yeah, she's in the position where she can do one of two things. She can allow this behavior, or she can um, provide training and support. You know, and she can make something. She can make something change. And so, I feel like what she does is going to either greatly help, or greatly hurt the culture that's present at this company.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
What about Simon,
Thanks,
though?
guys.
Going down to Simon, how do you think his role, his position is affecting the culture? I guess let me ask two different questions. How is his behavior helping the company and the culture, and how is his behavior hurting it?
I don't know that his behavior is helping.
He did catch the.
I mean, I guess he might be getting things done.
Uh-huh.
Simon, it's Simon York. Is that Simon York? Is that the same guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. It was talking about how he was he's a go-getter. He's very goal-oriented, but something that I focused on was that he, you know, in order to get what he needs done, he needs to have a team behind him, and it seems like he's lacking focus on making sure they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
So that, you know, that's going to just completely kill their drive to want to help him out if he doesn't give priority to them before just getting his stuff done, you know.
Yeah. So I do think that his personality is good for the company, as in he gets the job done, and he'll make sure it gets done. But I think the way he's going about that, he's missing some crucial steps in, like what Ryan said, with making sure his team's happy, and he needs to learn how to lead them better, not just order them around and get mad at them.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how do you guys think Mary, when she has this discussion with Simon, how do you think she should approach it?
So in my write-up, I kind of talked about this, and I suggested that she's specific with him on the different examples of where when she's seen him, like in that board meeting when he ratted out, the guy or whatever, and I just thought she needs to be specific on things that she's seen with her own eyes, because everything else would be hearsay.
Yeah.
And then I just thought she needs to give him direction on how to manage his team, because I think that's what he's lacking, is management skills.
Yeah,
I agree.
Go ahead, man.
Go for it. I just said I agree with what she was saying. Basically, kind of help them along. I think that would increase the company loyalty if the upper management is willing to work with people that maybe don't have the skills to do a team and just help them along. I think that would help the company out in the long run.
I even suggested that she be a mentor to him, that he meets with her once a week or twice, whatever, and she just kind of mentors him and gives him some skills to work on, and how to approach different situations and different people.
Yeah, it's even a perfect opportunity for her to demonstrate how he needs to be with his team, because he's acting in a way, or he's doing something that's not that's not the best, and that's exactly what his team did. But I think it's also important that when she has this meeting to first talk about, like, hey, you're doing such a great job. I appreciate everything you've done. This is what you've helped us do so far. Like, we really value you in this company. I just want to make sure that everything, and then get into the things that might need to be fixed in a polite, nice way, and let him see kind of how you're supposed to fix issues, instead of just marching in and yelling and marching out.
Well, yeah, because I don't think he thinks he's doing anything wrong.
Right.
Because like at the end of the article, it was saying how, he was excited for this meeting so that he could talk about, all this great things that
how he fixed the problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like he's not seeing it.
And it's kind of not entirely his fault, because the secretary was very vague on the purpose of the meeting. So that could make it.
He gets the wrong idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
I think when she meets with him, I think she should be very straightforward about what it's about. Don't try to beat around the bush, but help him understand how the way he's acting is detrimental to the environment and to the team. If he can understand that, there's a better way to do it. It won't be so much of, the boss says you have to do it this way, as he now understands he has to do it a different way.
Right.
Well, in our readings this week, it talked about intent, and when I read that part, I thought about him, because I thought I think his intent is great. That he wants to have these goals, and he wants his team to follow these goals, and I thought his intent was great, but his delivery is messed up.
Something I thought about, this may be kind of off topic. His intent was great, but you also have to, I also thought about it's probably not just the production floor's fault. The fact that he was so confused and just shocked at the result of what they wanted on their packet means that he didn't properly. I don't think he properly communicated probably what they wanted, because it seems like, he's like, what is this? And he should have clearly said, hey, I want to make sure that this X is big. I want to make sure that, I want to make sure that we represent them well. And it seemed like that wasn't communicated at all well. So anyway.
I also hit on that point too, where I felt like there was not the amount of communication that should be going on. They don't understand what the other person expects of them, and so they get issues when they don't communicate like that.
Right.
They all weren't on the same page.
Yeah. And he just took it out on them like it was their fault. But in my opinion, he's just as much to blame as they are, unless they blatantly disobeyed his instructions. It's just as much his fault than theirs,
Yep. And that's when you wonder, do they sit in team meetings and discuss this like as a group? Like, does, okay, this is our plan. This is what we'd like on the label, and give it to the production team, and they like, okay, and then, you know what I mean? Or is it just some email went out, this is what we want, and not communicated well?
Right.
Which I guess would go back to the culture or dynamics of the business.
Yeah.
Well, what else about this case did you guys find interesting, or did you guys that stood out to you, or problems that you saw in there that we haven't discussed yet?
One of the things I wrote is the lack of enthusiasm and trust on Simon York's team. I think we've talked about that. I think that stems from the leadership role. It will stem down into the team. I
trying to remember
everything else I wrote down. We talked about.
Yeah, mostly mine's all covered too.
Because I talked about how the way he acts and it affects other departments, not just his own.
One thing I kind of touched on, and we talked about it a little bit already, but as far as a resolution to how to help Simon, I felt like there was a lack of training going on in this company. Training not necessarily in what your duties are, but how to go about your duties. And, Simon's new to this position, and so I felt like if there was more training sessions, training opportunities on how to be a leader and a manager, that should help fix some of the problems that was going on. And so, and not only that,
go ahead.
Not only that, but like right here, the director of production, going to Mary Griffin, maybe if he had felt comfortable and knew how to, he might be able to deal with the issue himself instead of having to go ask someone else to solve it for him, So I feel like just training could be a good idea for this company.
I agree.
I did training, role model, mentors. That's what I touched on.
And even at this point, maybe team building, since they seem to be so upset with each other, they need to learn to work well together. And you don't have to love who you work with, but you can't hate your boss or your employees. You have to have a pretty good relationship to be as successful as possible.
Yeah.
Well, and like one thing I touched on is Simon open-minded? Like, is his team able to give suggestions, or is he just set in his ways? Well, these are my goals. This is what we need to do. This is it.
Right.
Now do it.
I thought of that too, and the way it described Simon York when he was just the assistant brand manager. The old brand manager had been there for 27 years. He had his way of doing things. But Simon was really good at working with him, giving him suggestions, letting him do it his way, but trying to help him see things a little bit differently. And so it seems like when he was at least the guy on the bottom, he was open-minded about it. And so it makes me wonder if he's still open-minded, or if there's just no one underneath him who's willing to talk to him and try to help him, you know?
So would you say that he climbed the ladder quickly, and maybe that sets in a little bit of pride, like, ooh, my ways are right,
Or
my
maybe
ideas
just
are the best?
yeah, or maybe just fear of, he it also showed an example of how like mortified he was to screw up when in his team there was that error in the calculations or the numbers. I can't remember exactly what it said, but
Presentation, yeah.
the presentation, he was like, he said, hey, I'm so sorry, everyone. I apologize, and how it was just a career limiting move. He's probably just horrified to make a mistake, because it did say, didn't it say that he climbed the corporate? Oh, no, maybe it didn't say that. Maybe we're just assuming that, but he's probably just mortified to make any mistakes at all, just based off that example.
Uh-huh.
But then he went on and blamed it on his team, and I thought that was horrible.
Yeah.
He didn't stand up for him at all.
Which really is not ever what a leader does, ever, or should do, at least.
Yeah.
Like, take the fall and then go back and have a team meeting and then express, hey guys, we dropped the ball there.
Yeah.
We've got to do better.
That's a good point. The leader should be able to say, hey, like, it ultimately falls on him in that moment, and then later he can say, okay, guys, let's figure this out. When it's in private, he can say, let's see who screwed this up, but you shouldn't throw your team under the bus like that, ever.
Yeah, I think if you do that, it creates like a fear. And if people are more led by fear, it doesn't last very long.
Right.
Well, I think he loses the trust, like his team. I would think they'd want to start looking for a different job, not work for him.
Right.
Okay, well, I don't know really if we need to or how to stretch this out to an hour.
It's supposed to be an hour.
He says you have an hour, so make the best use of your time. But I
think he means maximum.
Okay.
We'll just assume that's what he meant. That's all you have is 1 hour.
Okay. So I feel pretty good about our discussion, though. So
yeah, I agree.
I don't think we left anything out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
can just run through it all again, maybe.
Yeah, go over again. Just double it up.
All right.
So, anyways, I think that's it, though. So thanks, guys.
Thanks for taking the lead today.
Does somebody want to do it next week?
There is something else we need to do. We need to fill out the group leader sign-up sheet.
Oh. Okay.
And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 discussions, including today. So 8 after today that we need leaders for. Is our group just us 4? No, there's Sam also, right? There's 5 of us.
Yeah, I think we're missing 1.
Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. Sorry.
Does someone want to do it next week, and then from there we kind of just rotate through?
I'll do it next week. I'll start. So in later in March, I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be gone quite a bit for work. I'm out of town right now. But
okay.
for the next couple of weeks, I might try and get in as much as possible for the next few weeks, because later I'm going to not be able to do it. I'll be gone. So, but I'll do it next Thursday at 10.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, Michael or Allison, do you want to do it the next week?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. And then we'll give it to Michael.
Sounds good.
So is this a sheet that you're going to send out so we can see it?
I think it's a sheet. The sheet that I might post on a discussion board, or maybe I don't remember if he asked. Let's see. Oh, he wants me to email it to him, so I can email it to you guys as well, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So is there anything that we have to post for this today or do?
I think all that needs to be posted is just the link to this video on the discussion board so he can see it.
Okay.
The URL in the email, by the way, didn't work for me. I don't know if that ever worked for you, Allison, but I had to go into the Google Hangouts, and then I saw your invite. Anyway, hopefully it was just an issue this time, but
maybe we can just do the invites
through
if it's not working out again. It's not that hard to do. Just put in your email. So
yeah, okay. Appreciate it, man.
yeah, and so from here I'll just rotate through. I'll take Ryan out through the second rotation, so you won't have to do it twice.
Okay. Thanks,
and then I'll
guys.
send this to you guys.
And Allison, it's good to be in your group again in a brand new
know,
class. That's so funny.
I know. I was like, this has to be the same Ryan Palmer.
Yeah, that is funny. And I knew it was you because I don't know that I've ever seen your two names together ever in my whole life.
Yeah.
Is it Rasmussen? Is that your last name?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's good to be back, and that's funny. Same group and everything.
Yeah. Well, and in my other class, there was a girl that was in that class with us, and that last group project we did, we got like 100% on, and she said they got like 50%. They totally bombed it.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, we had a good group.
We did have a good group. I know. That's why I was kind of excited to see your name again. I was like, yes, we're going to do well again. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Thanks.
We'll see you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.